So I love this image. It kind of represents a lot of how we feel about our team. Kris said it earlier. Someone coined the phrase, we're not a company, we're a family that makes business together. And that's just to say that we're really close-knit. We like to have a lot of fun. You'll find that Kris is like serious and like vision and like this is awesome. And then I'm kind of a big dork and crack dumb jokes. I think Milliner is also the king of
dad jokes.
Really, really lame puns.
Ultra lame.
Kris, is your wife pretty laid back, or is she pretty high strung like you?
Oh no, my wife might be the chillest human being on the planet.
She's like the healer of all healers.
So you'll hear us use these terms. There's I mean, you've heard personality quizzes where they put people into categories, and we kind of have our own nomenclature for it.
Yeah.
A visionary is, partier and entertainer. A healer are those that just want to like hug and help people and very charitable, but also not really go-getters.
Yeah.
Warriors are those that are like, no, focused on the objective, get it done, work hard. That's a warrior. And then the last one is an oracle, which is like, oh my gosh, a spreadsheet, it's so fun. Oracles get made fun of a lot for being big nerds.
Guilty.
That is not me.
You'll find a lot of us here are like warrior
Somethings.
Warrior somethings.
Warrior oracles.
Warrior visionary. Warrior healer is actually where Kris falls. But you'll find a lot of our culture is built around that warrior. I think Kris said it, and we'll go dive into it. But the work hard, play hard, and we mean it. So that's our team. You guys will be joining, and like I said, that was taken like 6 months ago, and so there will be some face changes as we rotate through personnel, and that happens. But that's our group, and we're excited about it. So culture. What is culture? Okay. When we talk about culture, what we mean is it's who we are as a team, as a company. It's what we believe. And I like this word believe a lot because most people really they base their decisions in life on what they believe, right? Some people will be like, I'm motivated by logic, and usually it's not true. And I can get into the science of that. It's actually the inner brain that motivates our decisions. It's what we believe. It's how we feel about things that we move forward with the decision. So these are the things that drive our actions as a team. And that all kind of gets boiled down to one big statement, which is what is our why? So I want to share a quick video clip with you guys. First off, without saying it out loud, does anybody recognize who this is? Raise your hand if you know who this is. Nope, nobody? Okay.
Oh, is that?
Don't say it if you know it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I don't want to give it away yet. But I do want to share this video clip. So hopefully audio is up.
It's kind of like a Dwight Howard. No, not anymore.
I think I know what this is. Write it down.
That's vaguely familiar, but.
Good power button.
Are you kidding me? You?
I thought you were the tech man.
On the 26th.
There it is. Okay.
4 years. It's now the 26th of June 1998. By the 26th of June 2002, the Coldplay, or the band, whatever they're called then, will be known all over, man. We're gonna sell I will, John, Kris.
Kris Krohn.
Dude, that's awesome.
Absolutely huge.
Okay.
That's so cool.
So
I like
who
that
is
video.
this?
Chris Martin.
It's Chris Martin.
Yeah.
He's like 18 in this picture. He's got acne and braces. And what did he say?
He's gonna be huge.
4 years to the
4
day.
years. Coldplay, or whatever the band's called then, is going to be just the biggest, known all over. And then he names them Chris, Guy, Will, and John. We're just going to be huge. Dial back to 1998, you see this kid, and he comes to you and says, hey, would you invest $1 million in my band? How many would you do it?
If I had $1 billion, maybe.
I think even then, you look at this kid,
Nobody.
how many rock bands make it? How many rock bands, including all garage bands, are there out there?
Too many to count.
Hundreds of thousands, probably.
And the numbers that end up being anywhere remotely close to the success that Coldplay had. So Coldplay is one of my favorite bands. I've seen them several times. I love their music. And this clip, I show it at events. It gives me chills because of the energy that he brings when he's talking about the band. He does not care. In this video clip, and he's even commented, I've seen him on talk shows where they played this clip. I think he was actually on Ellen. And he'll even say, yeah, I was a dumb kid, and I was like full of excitement and passion and probably not very aware of how life really works. But that excitement, that passion, he's like, in 4 years, we're gonna be huge. And then they're headlining Glastonbury. Like, holy crap, like that's only 4 years and they're just like thrust onto to be one of the most successful bands of all time. But it wasn't because someone came and said, oh, I believe in you, Chris. There was a fire inside of him, and you can sense it from that clip that it did not matter. If someone came up to him and said, you're gonna fail, he would have said, what do you know?
Watch me.
Watch me. That's what he would have said. And he's just totally pumped and excited. And I show this clip, and I love this clip because of the energy and the excitement that goes into it. Because truly, we make our own destiny. A lot of times, the energy and the attitude that we bring to the thing we're trying to accomplish will determine our success. And with sales, it is so much more prominent that the way you feel, the way you're motivated about your job will affect your results much more than your knowledge, much more than your training. I mean, the energy that you bring in, like Chris said, it's the confidence with which you say things, not what you say, that will help the person on the other end of the phone feel like they can move forward. Like, holy crap, this guy is crazy confident. And that's what we try to exude. That's what Chris leads with, is this confidence that's like, we're just gonna roll up our sleeves and do this. Why? Because we care, and because we know we can, and because we know we're meant for greater things. We tend to attract individuals who push. I call them our pushers. A lot of our team members are pushers. And what I mean by that is there are people who aren't satisfied with just punch in, punch out. Not satisfied with just doing the same thing every day and collecting a paycheck. It's like constant. Mary Ann's one of our biggest pushers. Chris says she's made of rubber. I see her as a pusher because she's always like, guys, we gotta do this. Let's try this. Why don't we try this? And if you were asked her, like, why? Like, why are you putting so much energy into like moving things forward?
You know, this is gonna sound maybe a little bit weird, but when I first hear you say that and use that terminology, I know you're pushing Chris, and he pushes me for sure. But I feel like, you know, I don't know how many of you know what the Iditarod is. Does anyone know what the Iditarod is?
Dog sled race.
It's dog sled race. So I've got huge motivation. I feel like I'm always wearing the harness, and right behind me is my family and everything that's important to me. This company's on that sled too, because this company's important to me. I've been with this company since before Chris was even on YouTube. And if I'm sitting there in the harness and it's slacking, then those people are freezing and they don't get to where they want to go. I have to have the pressure of the harness, and in order to have the pressure of the harness on me, I have to keep moving. I have to keep moving, whether it's 100 miles an hour or 2 miles an hour, but the harness is tight and I'm going. I have to have that, otherwise I will die.
I like to use the word smallness. I think a company like this, not to keep people in their smallness,
Yeah.
keep them growing.
We're a small company. Honestly, there are much bigger companies out there than us. But what we are able to put together with this small team, I'm so excited for you guys to see what happens with our virtual event. Tony Robbins spent like $6 million for his. Have you guys seen how he's doing virtual events? It's really, really slick. He spent $6 million to accomplish it. We've approximated it with our team and our setup, like at a fraction of the cost, and it is really sick what we're able to do, and it's because we have a team of people that roll up their sleeves and just say, let's figure this out. And I hope when we look at this video, every one of you is saying inside your heart right now, instead of saying in 4 years, in 6 months, 10,000 6-week average. Raise your hand. Those online too, raise your hand and just say it. In 6 months, I'm gonna have a 10,000 6-week average.
At least.
At least.
And by the way, here's all that means. All that means is you're saying, I expect myself inside of 6 months to already be operating at a 6-figure level.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. Because I know some of you are like, Chris, I need to make $250,000 a year. Great. But minimum, you want to be thinking, like, inside the next 6 months. It could be 2 months, it could be 4 months. But no matter what, I'm that 6-figure A player,
Yeah.
right?
A players. That's another term that we're gonna go over here in just a second. But I want you all to be A players, and I want you to believe in what you are able to accomplish. Because when you believe it, something changes, and you'll stop at nothing until you achieve it.
By the way, sorry, I just gotta say this. I want you guys to make a lot more money than you need. Why? What have you been learning about for 3 days that you should be doing with money?
Invest in
Real
it.
estate.
You should be building a portfolio. If you're here in 5 years, it should be for one of two reasons. It's either you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and you've learned how to do it super easy, or it's because you also love this company and how you change lives. But if you're not here, I want it to be because you graduated and did such a great job and invested so intelligently and you got it financially going on. Like if you're gonna, we have some people here, I call them lifers. It's people are like, your mission, Chris, is my mission. This is our mission. We are changing the world together and you're a part of it, Chris, but you can't do it without me. I know that. This is not a one man, like this is a team of women and men that come together to do something extraordinary. So some of us do, Marianne and I don't care, it probably does not matter how much money Marianne ever makes. She's going to be here because she knows how she's changing things in such incredible ways. But for some of you, it's like, I'm going to park here for a couple years. I'm going to make sick money. I'm going to change a lot of lives. And then I'm going to graduate to the next thing I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Like, I'm good with either of those. I'm just not good with anyone that has no why, no drive, and is okay with less than $100,000 a year. Not in this world.
And honestly, you guys, we said it from day one. Day one, we said, there's the door if you don't want 6 figures. It's super easy. And just like we said in our commitment with every conversation, it's a yes or a no, and we're fine either way. But I feel like the reason that you're here is because you're already in the top 2%.
Yep. This is an amazing group of people right here. Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get someone to read nice and loud our mission statement as a company? Andrew.
We are a real estate investment company that empowers action takers to live life at their fullest potential by teaching them how to crush it in real estate and train their mind to live in that abundant state.
What does this mean to you guys at face value? First reading.
Well, the biggest purpose is helping others. It seems like that's the underlying thing is we exist to help other people to be successful, which I think is awesome.
I love that. Any other thoughts?
Our team name comes to mind as well, Team Transformation.
Yep.
And
This
so-
more than any other department in the company.
Yeah, it's talking about action takers, training your mind, abundant state or abundance mentality, and we, I think, can be partially the core of that, where we are exuding that ourselves, and every person that we reach out and touch, in relation to even the people working here, but the people that we get on the phones with, we're communicating that to all of them.
I love it.
Because they can sense that.
Yes.
Yes.
If we're not doing that, they can sense that.
And by the way, I want to build on that for just a second, because I'm spending this time with you here because I'm an extension of you and you're an extension of me. When I tell people, I can't give you Kris Krohn, but I can give you the next best thing, and an amazing human being that I've been able to personally train. And so I want people that are that are thrilled and excited with their life. Also people that, you don't gotta be perfect, but you gotta be committed to growing.
Yeah.
Right? And so people can sense when you're growing, and people can sense when you're chilling, laid back, and just kind of hovering through life. And we want people here that are just totally hungry and eager and excited for the next move, just like our clients'
Oh,
next
that's
move.
a good idea. Have you take that shield off, because for just a second.
Well,
so we can take a picture.
you all,
Take pictures.
hold on.
please.
You all will have a chance to get a selfie with you in the picture with Kris,
You'll
and
need
it'll
to.
actually be a huge tool for when you're interacting with clients. So we'll take a moment for that.
Yeah.
Deanne, you had a thought on this.
Yeah, I think the thing that I love most about this is it's not, it doesn't say, oh, we're just teaching people to make money, blah, 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 but like the focus is on training their minds to live in an abundant state. Like that's been my whole focus since I got divorced 9 years ago, is just trying to reprogram my whole mindset to change my life. And it's just, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm getting all emotional.
Oh, don't apologize, girl. It's my rule. I told you my rule yesterday.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
It's
I'm not apologizing for crying.
Atta girl.
I'm apologizing to myself for ruining my makeup. It's just like, it's just been the most powerful thing that's ever happened to me is training my mind, and it makes me emotional because I can't think of anything more important in anyone's life than their mindset, and it just hits me really hard.
Yep.
That's
We-
the focus of this.
We live in a country that has more. We live in a country that has more abundance than any other nation, regime, kingdom in the history of the world, and yet people still struggle to find happiness, to find joy. And what we've often said is people come to us to start learning how to make more money, to be more financially free, but they stay because of what Kris can teach them about mindset and truly what it means to have it all. You'll hear this expression a lot. We talk about having it all. And when people first hear that, it's a little polarizing because they're like, is it just materialistic? And we're like, that's not what we mean by have it all. We don't mean buy everything you want.
Well, maybe.
Maybe, but what I just said is that usually really people who have everything often are very unsatisfied in life. So what we mean by have it all is to have the relationships that you want in your life that are super meaningful, to have the body that doesn't inhibit you from accomplishing your goals, having that health factor in your life, being financially set so that you know at the drop of the hat you can earn money and have the resources to reach your goals. That's what we mean by have it all. And so people come to start learning how to be financially free, and then they stay because of how they feel when we start to train them how to really leverage their mind and their hearts to be the person they truly want to be.
If I can, I'd love to echo what you're saying. Because,
Stand up.
okay, yeah. I buckled my ship with Kris in this company 6.5 years ago, and I've had the opportunity to watch amazing people come into the company and go from the company, and I've also had the chance to be on stage with amazing people. I'll never forget the moment I was on stage with Tony Robbins and freaking kissed my face, and I was like, what is happening right now? And all through that experience, I want to just iterate what Carson is saying. I've had the chance to, Kris has brought amazing people into my life, and one of those people is an 8-figure earner, if I have that correct. And I sat in the room with that person who I've had the blessing and opportunity to coach, and this person has it all, or at least on the outside it looks that way. And you'll never understand what it's like to be financially free and literally be able to drop money and do anything you want and still ask, why am I not fulfilled? I always say, the moment that you get financially free, you need to ask yourself, why am I financially free? And until you actually ask yourself why you want to be financially free, you'll never get there. Because like Carson said, having it all is not just in terms of money, and I know that firsthand. You need to ask yourself why. And you don't wait to be happy, just like Bryn did yesterday. Bryn created a measure of happiness before the circumstance actually proved why she should be. And that's why we're here. So you are in a room right now and on Zoom right now with extraordinary individuals. And I hope you understand that this training, that this group of people, you were attracted to this opportunity for a reason. And that what we can build together as a team is greater than the sum of what we can build on an individual basis. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 here. 1 + 1 = 11 because of the power of the mindset they're about to dive into. And I hope that's okay to dive into a tangent on that. But the power that you have and the power that this company can bring out of you, extraordinary things are on the horizon as long as you keep your course. Thank you.
When I look at this, thank you, Marianne, that's a clapper. When I look at our mission statement, a lot of people in business will tell you that the most important people are your clients. I disagree with that. I think our most important people are our team members. It's you guys here. When I seek to implement this mission statement, it's with you guys. I want to empower you guys to start investing in real estate. I want to empower you guys to have the mindset to really change your lives and level up wherever that is, wherever your goals are at. And that's sort of my role. Kris goes out and he's this big public figure and he's bringing a tribe together of clients who want to do this as well. But I see my role as CEO to empower you guys to achieve these things. So we have our 8 statements of sort of what we stand for, our 8 edicts. One's been mentioned already, we work hard and we play hard. So what does that mean? Honestly, in my opinion, it means we make little distinction between work and play. We have fun when we're working and we work when we're playing. It may seem counterintuitive, but it's really not. When you love what you're doing, work stops being like work and it starts to seem more like fun. And when you love what you're doing, when you want to spend time doing something you love, it ends up being something that melds into work. And you want to implement these things in your life. Proactive communication, what does that mean?
Don't wait for someone to follow up.
Don't wait. What Kris uses a term that means the exact same thing as proactive communication, and that is reporting out. We're going to give you guys the definition of an A player here in a bit, and one of the things that an A player is someone that reports out. They don't wait for you to say, hey, how's your week going? They get on and say, hey, manager just wanted you to know this, and this.
Isn't that kind of open door policy that?
Yeah, 100%.
It's also something really specific. Who here has ever been micromanaged by someone else and hated it? Do you know who needs micromanaging?
Children.
People that don't openly communicate. A players tell you every day where they're at. They report their numbers. They tell you where they're at. If they have a concern, they bring it up. They're proactive. If they don't, and your manager has to ask you every day, where are your numbers? Where are you at? What are you doing? You're basically saying, I need a babysitter. I don't know how to communicate. And you're going to get fired tomorrow. Like you get one warning on communication. Other than that, it's like, I got it. You want someone to hold your hand. This is not that organization.
No, we need proactive communicators who can take ownership for their actions, but can also be super pumped up to share their results. You'll find this is a place, and I feel like a number of organizations shy away from this, but dude, we celebrate success here like crazy.
Awesome.
Like we want you to feel like you are seeing results in your life, and I'm going to teach you how in just a minute. Triple win. Are people having a hard time hearing me?
Yeah.
I might
Speak up.
How about now? That should be better. I just turned me up on the mixer. Triple win. Chris Miller, can you stand up for a second?
Sure.
About the triple win.
So triple win means something very specific in this company. You might have kind of got this feeling from this, but we are here to make sure that everyone that is involved in our business wins every time. Usually this means 3 individuals. The company needs to win, because if the company is not winning, it's going to go out of business. You guys need to win. If you don't win, you're not getting the 6 figures that you want, and it's not going to work. And the client needs to win. If the client doesn't win, we did not build the right system. Our role with the triple win is we believe that's the best way to make sure that this thing is sustaining, that we keep things in integrity, and that we rock things out. So all the time we're going to be pushing, saying, okay, did everyone win? And how do we make everyone win more? How do we redesign products? How do we restructure things? How do we make sure that every single time we do business, that everybody involved in that transaction is better off afterwards? And that is always the goal. Any practice, any policy, anything we do, where one of those 3 does not win, is not a deal that happens.
It's considered inappropriate. So a good example of this is our commission structure. You sell a $7,000 package. You make a commission on it, that's a win for you. The client gets a program where they can potentially have earnings that will change their entire life if they start a business and they're able to quit their job. It can change their whole trajectory, so it's a win for them. But then we're appropriately pricing the products so that the company has a take home. You'll see we have some very, very specific standards about how we do on pricing on products to ensure this triple win. Another subject that's kind of touchy subject for this group is this idea of clawbacks. Chris Milliner addressed it on Monday, and it's tough. Clawbacks suck. But if you look at the triple win policy, if a client refunds because they were inappropriate sold, and the company took the hit because we lose that revenue, often after we've already started fulfilling on a product. Often these clawbacks or refunds happen after we've already put time, energy, effort into fulfilling for the company, and then they pull that money away. If we didn't claw back the commission, we would be breaking this policy, right? The salesperson would be allowed to win when the company and the client were both hurt by the situation. So this yokes us all together, the client, the company, and every member of the team, so that we can always have that triple win. And if it's not a triple win, it'll be discussed, and if it is only benefiting one of these groups, it's considered inappropriate. So that's how we make decisions, and that should empower you guys to be part of that triple win. We are trying to always make decisions that benefit the team as well as the company, as well as the client. A positive environment. I think this is another thing. There's a number of things in our culture that I feel like other companies throw these up and are like, yeah, we stand for positivity, but they don't really mean it. And I'll tell you, we mean it. We do not allow self-deprecation here. Do you guys know what self-deprecation is?
Yeah.
It's people who make fun of themselves to lighten the mood or be humorous. And it's gotten to the point where when someone does that in our office, just the other day somebody said something like, oh, I'm so dumb. And everyone looked at him and was like, don't say that. Don't. Like, 1, it's not true. 2, it's not helpful. And 3, it hurts you.
You could argue that we're a highly offendable culture. If you say something mean or negative about yourself or another, we're going to get offended and we're going to take immediate action. There will be an intervention.
That's a rule in my house.
We empower each other, and we are each other's biggest cheerleaders. And we'll do that. We try and make an environment where people truly are striving to be positive, and we celebrate everyone's success.
On that note, who knows that cheerleaders doesn't always mean rah-rah. Cheerleader also means that we are going to have the courage as leaders and as teammates to also let you know with love and conviction where you're erring, where we're seeing, hey, I see this, I notice this, are you aware of this, that, or the other, in a form of positive feedback. But it's not always go get 'em Tiger, it's hey, I've noticed this, I have a concern, let's talk.
Right, I like number 5. I think, Carson, that's my favorite.
I'm fixing it right now.
Is that why we have that 2 times? Because I like that. Guys, communication is really important to us here as a company. Apparently,
I was right.
We're gonna over communicate that. Carson's like, where's the missing 8th mission statement thingamabob?
But coming from a company that's all about teaching leadership to CEOs, and coming here and seeing the culture here that is truly about leadership. I mean, everybody here is leaders. And
And that's what we ask. We ask everyone to self-lead,
Yeah.
self-manage.
Yep.
It's like you know your role, you know what you get to do. We hire the best people, so now go out and crush it. 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a yes culture.
So Chris, I agree that number 5 is really awesome. Everything here is driven by trying to inspire others and inspire ourselves to do better and better each day. We take ownership, right? Have you heard the term, the buck stops here? Yeah, that means that within our sphere of influence, within our sphere of ownership of what our role is, there's always going to be an excuse, but at the end of the day, excuses don't solve problems.
Do you mind if I talk about ownership for a second in relation to this team?
Yeah, do it.
So every single day, we have a member of Chris's team in operations that does something for you. They basically give you a fresh batch of leads. And you always have more than enough leads at work. Depending on the allocation, we usually give somewhere between 8,000 and $15,000 or $18,000 worth of leads to you in any given week. The better you get, the higher that number gets. So you build track record, you do a good job, we give you more of higher quality leads. We have a saying here called honor the lead. And I want to share what we mean by that. Right now, today, there's 100 people somewhere in the world that are filling out a form, buying a book, buying a course, and often it's because it comes with a free game plan or a consultation. And so for me to have my integrity honored, I need to give them what they asked for. And in the past, we used to have some people that thought honoring the lead meant, well, you call them a couple of times, maybe you shoot them a text, and if I don't reach them, I guess I just couldn't reach them. Honoring the lead means work that lead. Carson on day 1, he went through critical drivers. Critical drivers is how you know that you're really taking ownership. And proactive communication is when you fill that out every night, it's your way of saying, I've communicated where I'm at. Someone on the team will tell you how much talk time you have. And pretty much, we're obviously tracking your hours because by law we have to make sure you get paid a certain amount of wage, even though this is otherwise a 100% commission role. And even though we feel like the compensation is really generous, the reality is ownership means that you're striving to have meaningful conversations that can turn into sales with the right people. But the way that we know that you're actually working, it comes down to your dials or it comes down to your talk time. And we like to see that if you're on the phone just all day long talking to people, you're not going to get to 100 dials. You're too busy having proper, appropriate conversations. But there will also be days that are setup days. It's like, it's weird. I just can't, I'm just setting appointments all day. And on a day like that, I'm honoring my leads and taking ownership because I got my minimum 100 dials in. And 100, 150 dials is what you do on days when it's like, well, I guess I'm filling up my schedule with meaningful conversations. And then there are other days where you just can't get those dials in because you're too busy having appropriate conversations with people. That role play I did with Carson and Kris, it actually took almost an hour to do that sale. It was like 45 or 50 minutes. I wanted to give you more like a 30-minute example, and then Carson's like, hey, let's actually throw some curveballs in for fun. Got me a little off schedule, but the reality is I also needed to honor the conversation and take the time that was important and necessary to have. So, for you, you'll always know whether you are taking ownership or not based on filling out your critical drivers and you making sure that you're reporting that out and never once having someone to ask you for your numbers. Unless there was an extreme circumstance, had to go to the hospital or problem with the child or something went down. Life happens, we understand that too. But that take ownership is something that I think Carson's done a really good job kind of creating inside of here, which is we empower you to really understand what your role is and then to rock it as hard as you want. And that way you're not waiting on anyone else for whether you can have the level of success that you want here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. Carrying gratitude. So we have a paper tree on our wall at home for Thanksgiving, and every day me and my girls and my wife write down things we're grateful for on a leaf and tape it on the tree, so by Thanksgiving the tree will be covered in leaves.
Oh,
It's
cool.
last night I was thinking about things I'm grateful for, and I put on there my team at work. Years ago, I remember having specific moments in prayer and focusing on what I wanted to create in life. And I just kept saying, I'm tired of like building things by myself, because I was our videographer and editor, and then responsible for putting on these events. But I felt like I was carrying a lot of it by myself, right? I'd shoot a video, I'd sit down, I'd edit it, and then I'd show it to Kris, and he'd give me feedback, and then he'd post it, and I was like, man, I'm just doing this all alone. And then here we are 2 years later, and our team has grown, and I just want to convey gratitude to you guys that we're not doing this alone. We are a team, and we can lean on each other, and together we are able to accomplish so much more as a group than we would individually. And so I just wanted to share that gratitude with you, and know that Kris and Marianne and Kris all feel the same gratitude. You are giving us the most important asset that you have, which is your time. Time cannot be created or taken away. We all have an equal measure of time, so the fact that you're willing to come in and give us that time fills me with immense gratitude. And know that we're going to do everything we can to make you successful, and if you'll reciprocate that, this will work. And super grateful for that, and I'm grateful for everything Kris has built. He carries the biggest load of anyone on the team, and that is something that we want to permeate our culture with, is this idea of gratitude, not entitlement, right? I think those two are opposing ideas. Entitlement is the opposite of gratitude. We definitely want to build a culture, and have been building a culture of gratitude.
One other thing I want to share with you is I want to focus on that first word, caring. One of the things that's going to happen as we spend more time together, you're going to find sometimes in a role play, or when I'm actually on the phone or talking to a client, you're going to find that I'm going to say something where inside your stomach's going to knot up, and you're going to say, did he just say that with his words? Like that was, like, I'm accused of creating these kind of awkward moments on a fairly frequent basis. And it's not because I'm autistic, it's actually because it's intentional, and it's an expression of caring. I believe that if I give my full presence to a human being, and I owe them a game plan, whether it's life-changing or not is up to who. It's up to me, and I want to share something with you right now. I will get on the phone and tell someone that inside the conversation I can promise a life-changing experience. And that used to be scary to say, because the moment I said it, it painted me into a corner, and now I had this big, hairy promise that I had to fulfill. How many of you think it'd be kind of scary to promise something like that on the phone? You will be able to say it, and you will be able to deliver it. You're going to paint yourself in a corner, and then you're going to learn how to paint yourself back out. And here's what I think you're going to learn. When I'm exposing that financial supremacy conversation, when I'm exposing how off track someone is, not easy to say, that's why no one has ever said it, but I say it because I care. It's not a tactic, it's not a manipulation, it's not because it'll create urgency and increase my likelihood of sale. It's because I need that person to internalize that they're screwed, and they should see it. If I talk to someone on the phone who has a limiting belief, I can't help myself. I'm going to tear in. I'm going to say sometimes hard things because I care. And I want you to feel empowered to rise up and have conversations with people that matter and that are authentic and candid and honest and true. You know how sometimes we have the voice inside our head that is saying, oh my gosh, I wish I could say that, but now I got to run it through my filter to sugarcoat it, make it more tactful. You guys know what I'm talking about? I hope you remove every ounce of those filters. I hope that you will speak to people on the phone, because then you can have conversations that matter. Then you will have conversations that are either life-changing or game-changing. And that's your goal. Every time I'm on the phone with someone, every time I'm connecting with someone, it's my opportunity to say, I'll show you how I care. I care enough to do the one thing most people won't. I will be honest. And I will articulate my words in a way that, yeah, they may be shocking, but you'll never be offended. I almost never offend people, by the way. I say, why are you wearing that fat suit? Why are you wearing that fat suit? Why are you carrying that 150 pounds? And when I say it, I don't say it in a way like, you're ugly, you're fat, you're not good enough. What I'm really saying is they can feel an energy from me that says, hey, why are you doing that to yourself? What hurts deeper than what I'm seeing with my eyes? And all of a sudden, that person and I, we lock eyes and now we're connected. Caring is getting yourself to the courage to be honest with people and to learn how to say that honesty in meaningful and powerful ways. Sharing honesty in meaningful and powerful ways. And now these people will never forget you. You'll have done something for them that day where they'll say, I don't think I had an honest conversation to that level with anybody. That right there inspired me. For me, my God moments in life, God is just honest. And those honesty moments, when we say the truth sets us free, our pain comes from the lack of truth in our life. So I just wanted to share that for you specifically, caring does mean we're tactful and nice and we care about each other. Completely important. Just know that to these potential prospects or future customers or people that we'll never talk to again, I expect them to have their life better off because they had a conversation with you, whether they bought or not. And that's really my goal, is we're giving you the basics here, but in time, we're going to drop the advanced conversations where you're going to say, oh my gosh, I was a life-changing coach in that moment. That's the gift. And for me, that's what caring means. It means real honesty that matters.
I love it. Thank you, Kris. Last thing on our list, we take time to reflect. Once a week, me, Kris, and Kris have a meeting. It's our Brain Trust meeting. And it's actually every 2 weeks, and we sit down, and instead of working in the business, we work on the business. We look at what's working, what decisions have we made, and what are the results looking like. And then in the off weeks, in between those, we meet with our leadership team that includes Marianne, our fulfillment director, our marketing director, and we pull them in and we do the same thing. Instead of working in the business, we look at it and say what's working, what's not working. I invite each one of you to set aside 30 minutes to an hour each week to reflect on how you're doing in your role and reflect and really look back and say what's working, what's not working. For warriors, for those who like GTD, get things done, it may feel like a waste of time at first. It's kind of hard to pull out and be like, I could be using this time to check things off my list. But the power of reflection is so massive, and most people don't make time for it. And honestly, making time to reflect is making time for yourself.
Is that when you guys send
Engaging
us to
with
the
your
spa each week?
What's that?
Is that when you guys send us to the spa each week?
Sure, your paycheck.
Bryn, the day will come.
Oh, okay.
The day will come. Another message I wanted to share along with our mission statement is, guys, it all starts with one house. That's my first house. You'll see in Kris's video, he shows his first house.
Oh, cool.
Kris, we need a picture of your first house.
It's ugly.
We want all of you guys to be making the money you want so you can turn around and get into your first house. And let me tell you a story about this first house, and I'll be brief. Our acquisitions director, Tyler Bennett, sold me this house. He sold it to me at a huge discount, and it has a basement apartment. And it has changed my family's stars. I am like such a big believer in real estate because I'm doing exactly what Kris did. Live upstairs, rent out the basement, and this house is an anomaly. We've since moved out. We bought another house also with a basement apartment, so we now have 3 rentals. And this house is a cash flow machine. Just so you know, $400 of cash flow, oh man, with that. $400 a month cash flow is respectable when it comes to cash flow on a house. $500, $600 is like awesome. This guy's cash flowing $1,100 a month.
No way.
This house is a second job where all I have to do is run over and fix a sink occasionally. Guys, it changes your stars. The other thing is it's constantly building equity. I mean, we'll hold on to this until it makes sense and then transition it into 2 homes, into 4 homes. Guys, real estate is the answer to your future. You need to be building active income now and passive income. And in 20 years, you'll look back, and Kris is right, you'll say, I wish I had bought more. So sorry, we don't offer 401ks because we don't believe in them. We don't offer some mutual funds, some pensions, we don't advise people to be putting their money into stocks because we're like, freak, use our team, get into real estate. And that is a big part of what we push to our team and as well as our clients. We live the same thing that you guys are selling on the phone.
I just wanted to add my first house to this
Yeah.
testimonial, if you will. I bought my first house with Kris and his company 5.5 years ago. Now, we like to share with our clients that we double the portfolio about every 5 years, give or take. My portfolio has way more than doubled. If you remember the financial walkthrough that we've done so many times over? Let me share with you what this house that Kris's team is doing for me. I bought that house at 180. To date, the principal is paid down to now I only owe 120. Do you know what the house was valued at when I got an appraisal 2 months ago?
What?
$340,000. Guys, that's 5 houses that I'm buying in the next 6 months. My biggest regret is not having 5 more of those in my belt. You've got to utilize what's here. It's magical.
When's the best time to plant a tree?
20 years ago.
20 years ago. Second best time.
Today.
Today! I'm not going to dive into this. The value ladder is super important, but you guys you've got the value ladder in your notebooks. Just know that we believe in it, and marketing will come all the time and be like, hey, look at this person's, and we'll have infusions off their name, and then it'll be like, they bought a book, and then they bought 10X, and then they came to an event, and now they're partners. Guys, it moves them on a trajectory. I know sometimes you'll be like, oh man, I'm selling this guy and he's buying a $500 course. That's good. Just know that the journey never stops there. We keep re-engaging these people and moving them up the value ladder. And it works. Okay, we use this term an A player. We want everybody on our team to be an A player. Okay, what does an A player mean? Chris Milliner.
Yes.
What does an A player mean?
An A player is somebody who hits their numbers. Your numbers are a metric of what the minimum requirements are to succeed at your job. An A player means they have the integrity to do what they say they will do when they say they will do it without needing somebody to babysit them.
So that's the definition of integrity, by the way, is if you do what you say you're going to do. Now, nobody's 100% perfect at that, but we strive for that. We expect when someone says, oh yeah, I'll get that done, we expect them to actually follow through and do it. And if you can't do that, you're not an A player. And we're only interested in building a team of A players. Can everybody have the integrity to do what you say you're going to do? Raise your hand and say, yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
Okay. We've already gone over reporting out. An A player does proactive communication. They report out. Even if the numbers are bad or not what we wanted them to be, there's no hiding. An A player says, no, I'm going to reach out and tell you this is where I'm at because I'm interested in growth and I'm interested in building and having success, and that's how it happens. Okay, there's a few quotes I want to share that I think exemplify and solidify who we are as a culture here at the Kris Krohn team. The first is, hunger will destroy your fear of failure. Tony Robbins. He's worked with so many amazing, powerful, successful people, and he'll tell you the common denominator among them all. It's not knowledge, it's not means, it's not resources, it's not about where you started, where you came from, it's not race, it's not gender, it's none of those things. The thing that every successful person has in common is hunger. What do we mean by hunger?
You need to grow like you need to breathe.
If you guys will witness it, Kris Krohn exemplifies this so much, where it's just like, no, we are just going to keep pushing because I have to keep pushing. Like he said, you need growth like you need to breathe.
When Carson's done, by the way, this is great information. Isn't this helpful? Is this useful?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we're going to be doing next before we go to lunch is we're going to talk about your why, and we're going to talk about where motivation comes from. Because I think probably one of the most common questions I get in my personal development space is people like, wow, where do you get that hunger? Where do you get that drive? Where does that ambition or motivation come from? And we're going to talk about how simple of a game that is. Because the reality is, how many of you are beginning to see that this opportunity is really as big as you want to make it? Like, let's talk about a game plan for you financially, personally. In my opinion, first of all, the highest paying jobs, it's what? It is sales. And here's a shortcut cheat. Find out how to make multiple six figures. First of all, race to six figures, and then get to multiple six figures, and start learning how to save a lot of that money and invest it, and build these multiple streams of income. There's your game plan. Like, we're gonna go deeper on it, but like, really, the secret for your situation is really simple, is you gotta figure out how to create a level of hunger to create way more than you need. Unfortunately, most people will only create an appetite that suits their exact need. If my lifestyle honestly costs $4,000 a month, blah, blah, blah. I want to make $100,000 a year, Kris. I hear you, but I don't believe you. Because you are going to set your appetite to $4K a month. And you're going to say, you're going to feel good saying, no, for real, I want six figures. Your actions are going to show 4,000 because mentally you've set a barometer to what you need. You need to find a way to change your need from what is necessary to a desire. And there lies a secret. And we're going to do a deep dive, and that's where we're going to, I want to start our more advanced journey in the game of breakthrough there, which is how do you create a massive disparity from your bills and your goals and turn your goals into needs instead of nice would like to have things. So we're gonna go deep on that.
I would love to share a little bit about that if I can for just a brief moment. I've said this before. When I started with Kris, you bet.
Nice and loud.
When I started with Kris, I was on multiple forms of government assistance, right? 3 different forms to be exact. That was, honestly very recently. That was within the past 3 or 4 years. Right now, my fiance and I are looking at buying a home on a piece of land that's going to be at least $700,000 to $800,000. Do you know how crazy it is to be able to say that? And it's not just because we want a big house and we want nice things. Of course, we want to live in a way that honors our artistic desires, right? But when I started this journey with Kris, my why was deeper than just a nice home. That home for me represents my ultimate goal. And my ultimate goal was this. I was raised as the youngest of 10 children. I watched my parents run away from creditors. Their parents were running away from creditors, and now my parents are 75 years old. My mom has had several heart attacks. My dad's got diabetes, and they're living on Social Security. I'm not okay with that. This home that my fiance and I are buying has a basement apartment with my parents. Because I know when they are no longer able to function, that they will be too proud to go into a nursing home. And the tensions between them and my other siblings are not welcoming. This is the only option my parents have for a comfortable way to spend what I hope are a long rest of their days on the planet. I've been able to bring my family to a place of financial security with the support of this team and many others. But now I have a responsibility to extend that to my mom and dad. In 6 months, I'll be able to walk up to my parents in their home and say, now you don't have to live on Social Security checks anymore. Now you don't have to work anymore. We have a home for you. It's brand new. Come live with us. I'm going to buy my kids' grandparents back. That's my why. And if your why for your financial freedom is not strong enough to elicit emotion, you will not get there. And I am able to get there because of Carson, because of Kris, because of the team, because of the blessing of being able to help hundreds of people do the same thing that I'm doing. Get your passion up to point, and then, like Kris said, your goals are a must. They're not a maybe anymore. They are inevitable because you will not stop until you get there. Get there. Thank you.
Les Brown says, you gotta be hungry. Are we hungry as a team?
Yeah.
Are you satisfied? Are you satisfied, Marianne?
Not yet.
I am not satisfied. I love everything that we've done, but I am far from satisfied. We are hungry for growth. The things we do on a consistent daily basis define who we will become. Kris Krohn said that in a training a few weeks back. I don't even know if you know that I wrote that down and I look at that. But it's true. We often think that it's the big decisions that make the difference in our life, right? Whether we go to college or not, or whether we take this job or not, or whether we get married, and granted, those are huge. But guys, what defines us are the things that we do daily. And that's why our critical drivers and our KPIs, they're all things that we measure daily. Let's talk about measuring things, because I know we talk about numbers a lot, especially in this department, and it matters. And actually, it's not just in this department, it is the entire company. You might say we are obsessed with numbers. And I just want to tell you that it's not for numbers' sake. Right? Numbers are an amazing tool for measuring whether or not you're having success. Kris, go ahead and read this for me, nice and loud.
Sure. When performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported, the rate of improvement accelerates. By Thomas S. Monson.
I want to emphasize that I have seen this principle happen in my own life so much. Everything you're doing, every goal that you have, it can be tied to a number. And if you're not measuring it, you'll miss it. Oftentimes when we're setting goals at the beginning of every year, we have a big group come together and we talk about our goals for the year. And Marianne, have you talked about potpourri yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, potpourri answers. A lot of times people are like, people come to you and say, this year I just want to be happier. And the problem with that is that growth happens incremental. It's incremental growth that happens. And it's like if you have a niece or a nephew. You don't see them for 6 months. And you go and see them and you're like, oh my gosh, you're huge now. The parents don't see it. Because they're with them every day and they're like, oh yeah, if I look back at pictures, now I can see the big change. But the change is gradual. And so if you aren't measuring it, I promise you, you will hit your goal and not even know it. So this idea of, I just want to be happier this year. Well, you may do things that each day you feel a little bit happier, but since it's not a drastic change, when you look back, you don't know whether or not you hit your goal. So what we do as a company is we try and measure everything that we can and then focus on the things that really change our results.
I want to dive in on this for a moment and talk about the science of the numbers. How many of you would like to design the income that you want to make? How many of you would like that? How many of you would like to, within a couple months, be able to predict exactly what you're going to make this year? Would that be cool? Let me just share something with you. Carson, do you have, can you just pull up an image for critical drivers?
Yeah.
I actually want to show you why we as a company measure and report numbers. Sometimes it feels like a little bit of a pain in the butt to do that, but we actually like to reverse engineer our progress. And here's how you actually know how much money you're going to make. If you look at this document right here, you know that the first critical driver is called what?
Dials.
It's dials. What's the next one?
Talk time.
Talk time. What's the third one?
Sales.
Conversations. And what's the last one?
Sales.
Okay, let me just show you something. Why do you think we're tracking dials?
It's a pipeline.
Effort. You're saying at least that you're putting in the effort.
Yeah, you might think that. That is not the reason. You might think, oh, I can prove to the company that I'm not just sitting on my laurels. That is not why we track this. Let me show you why we track it. Well, Carson, pull out your calculator. Miller, pull out your calculator. I got 80 dials, and I had 5 sales conversations, and I had 2 sales. Kris, how many dials do I need to get to a sales conversation?
16.
16 dials equals having a meaningful conversation with someone. How many conversations do I need to get a sale?
2.5.
It's 2.5 conversations produce a sale. And then let's just say that for the week, my average cart value on a sale, let's say that I'm hitting $6,000 a week in sales. And I got 2 sales. What is my average sale price? $6,000. I did 2 sales. What's my average sale per sale?
$3,000.
It's $3,000. This person says, all right, If I want to make more money, how many more dials equal how many more conversations equal how many more sales? So I might say to myself, well, wait a second. I want to double my sales. I want to go from $6,000 a week to $12,000 a week, which would have me making about $130,000 a year. Does that make sense? So you say to yourself, well, I need to get twice as many conversations, and if it's 16 a dial, then I need to do more dials. That's one approach. That's one of the reasons why we ask this information. But there's a second. Over time, what do you want to see this conversion drop to? Marianne, how many dials do you need to have a meaningful sales conversation?
Oh, how many dials do I need? Probably 20 dials, but not that many different people. You know, I'll sometimes.
Your number's a lot lower than that. I just
Yeah,
didn't know if you know off the top of your head.
You know, off the top of my head, probably 5.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Marianne, when she gets someone on the phone, if that person can have a meaningful conversation, they are. Marianne gets someone on the phone, and within 5 minutes, they've already decided, I need to speak with her. I have to speak with her. And when you learn from her, you're going to figure out why that is. She is the queen of working the least and making the most. And I don't mean working the least like not putting in her time. She makes more money than most people because these are skills. You want to learn how to lower the number of dials for the highest number of conversations. If I were to look at someone's average for the week, and I'm seeing this person is doing 150 dials a day, they're getting 8 sales conversations a day, and they're averaging 1 sale. What do you know about this person? First of all, tell me about their work ethic, high or low?
High.
Super high. Chris, how many dials does it take for them to get a conversation?
Too many.
They're not asking the right questions.
50 divided by 8 is 18.75.
This person has to do 18.75 dials to have a meaningful sales conversation. For me to get this number lower, how do I change? How do I have to change when I'm on the phone to lower this number?
Raise your confidence.
I gotta raise my confidence. What else do I gotta do?
Probably work on the intro specifically.
I might have to work on my intro, but more importantly, I'm not able to convince people to want to take time with me. So my posture is lacking. I might be missing confidence. I may not be honest enough with myself or them, and I just may not be coming across powerful enough. So now I know what I need to work on. My performance, the way that I'm connecting has to shift.
Can I add one more metric to that?
Go ahead.
The sooner you dial them up their action on the website, the better. You're going to waste time doing lots of dials if you let leads sit. If you let leads sit, they get cold, so get to them soon.
Yeah. All right. Tell me what you think about this person's sales conversions.
Not great.
What is it, Chris? What percentage of their conversations turn into sales?
1 divided
What is it?
1 divided by 8, so 1/8.
Yes. What's the percent?
12.
0.125.
12.5.
So that's 12.5.
12.4.
Okay. Is this a good closing percentage or a low percentage?
That is about a third of what it should be.
This is really low. I have people on the team, and guess what theirs is? 50%. So we track this data so that you can actually every week understand what your own growth rate and trajectory is. That's why we're collecting all of this information, because it's easy for us to diagnose what needs to change. Like, for example, let me give you one more real quick, and then Carson, we're going to come right back your way. Let's say this person is averaging 70 dials a day. They're never really quite getting to 100, but they're having 9 sales conversations a day. And 3 of those people are converting into sales. Let's do the math on this.
33.
What is this?
Oh, I don't know dials.
So the conversion here, dials to conversations,
8.8.
Is about 7.7 dials per hour.
7.7 dials. Is this person good at connecting with people?
Yes.
Is this person good at getting these people to want to talk to them?
Yes.
And then, what's their conversion from conversations to sales? What's their closing percentage?
33.
It's 33%. How do you guys feel about this number? Is this good or bad?
That's decent.
This is a great number.
Yeah.
This is a great number. This person not only knows how to connect with people, they also know how to help at least one of those 3 individuals move forward with something. So this is why we collect the information, and the reason why we have you at the end of every day. The last thing you do when you close shop is you report your numbers, so that in the very morning, the person that is working with you, Mary Ann, can look at this and just say, I know, because until we get into our office January 1st, I want to know exactly where we're at. I know exactly where you're at, and I know if I need to have a conversation with you. And if you don't report your numbers, that would be concerning to us, because it means that you don't understand just the basics of being an A player. You put your numbers out there, but once you do, it's not so that we're like celebrating or laughing at, it's so that we can actually say, hey, how are you trending? And if you've been holding stagnant here for a while, where do we do a deep dive, and how do we actually customize what you need? And here's the goal. In the first 2 months, you want to get as much custom one-on-one conversation and training happening as possible. There will be 2 trainings a week that happen at the office, and then the other days of the week we Zoom. And so Mary Ann has us going for you guys. So in other words, and for those of you that are out of state, we're just having a Zoom connect every day. And the purpose of that is to check in and basically say, what gaps do we need to fill for you personally? And you want to become the queen or the king of asking the most questions. Even when you do something well, how would you do it better? How do you do it, Mary Ann? How do you do it, Kris? How do you do it better? And by measuring this information and tracking it, we can trend your success, and in time, you can say, hey, I actually know how to get, like Mary Ann knows exactly how to get her numbers. Mary Ann, how much money have you made for the week so far?
Commission-wise or volume?
Let's start with
Commission-wise.
Good. Okay, so my volume this week is over 12,000. It's 12.5, which means my take-home check is about a $2,400 check.
Okay, so Mary Ann is at a $2,500 check, and some of you are thinking, but wait a second.
She's been here
She's been here training the whole time. She has stepped out a couple of times, but Mary Ann has this thing called a pipeline. And your first 3 weeks is building your pipeline, setting appointments that can't meet this week, that'll meet next week. Mary Ann has like a crazy predictable system that she's going to be spending time training you on so that you understand. And Mary Ann, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends this week probably at a $4,000 paycheck before other things that she gets for all the roles that she plays here.
With an event.
and on top of the event, it's going to be crazy. For Mary Ann, she might make $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 this week.
I wouldn't mind.
There's a lot of week left.
Yeah, there is.
And so the point is that this data helps us help you basically know where are you strong, where are you weak, or where do you want to improve. And then we want to isolate that, and then we want to nail that, and then we want to help you just learn how to crush those different areas.
Okay. Measure what matters, guys. We're reading as the executive team, we're reading a book called Measure What Matters right now, because it really does matter. And I just want to show you, this is the personal measurements that I do in my own life. I've got tracking systems for everything. I love having an Apple Watch because it takes something very nebulous, very difficult to track, and turns it into a number. You just wear it all day and it tracks what you do. Raise your left hand, raise your left hand. Tracking it, right? Because we're like, our health matters, and I want to be able to know what's happening, what calories am I burning, how much movement am I
8,000 steps.
Boom!
Oh, I'm only at 270. I was not at the gym this morning.
And why does it matter? Is there some person that's coming to you in your life, Kris, and being like, how many steps did you get?
No, but I will say this one little thing. So I love what Carson's harping on. One of the things that I love about life is that rather than just living it, if you understand what level you're doing it at, I just have one simple rule. I measure what matters, and then with that, I just demand 1% of improvement every day. 0.5%. 0.1%. If you all got on the gym with me in the morning and got on the treadmill, and every day I said, okay, you're gonna come 6 days a week with me, and every day you either have to run 0.5 miles an hour faster, or your incline has to improve 1% grade. And I don't care which it is, but every day it's just little. Every single day you will not be able to perceive the change. And even when it gets hard, when you do it, the next day you'll be able to bump it up and it will feel like the same thing. But after 30 days, guess what will happen? You will be a freaking uphill running machine. And all you did was ask a little more. And so I do this in my relationships, I do this in my money, I do this in everything. So you gotta track it so you know what it is, And then you just gotta ask yourself, for what matters, what do I want to improve? Don't strive for something crazy. Demand the tiniest little thing of yourself every day. And just wait a week or a month and you'll look back and you will be blown away at who you are becoming.
I also want to say, just by measuring it alone, you're telling your brain and your body that this matters, and you will have a natural inclination to do better. One of the things that I've been tracking also, and I teach a whole thing on this at U of D, and I love the way that Kris has taught me to set goals, and it's super powerful. But I have a punishment and a consequence for not reaching certain goals. But I wanted to point out, I've been tracking my water consumption every day. There's no punishment or consequence tied to it. I just wanted to track it. And every day, for some reason, I'm hell-bent on getting my 64 ounces of water, just by virtue of measuring it. So I know we talk numbers a lot, but it really does show where you're seeing progress and where you're not, and you know where to put your focus. So that's my personal one. Marketing has taken this to a whole new level of measuring, because marketing is really difficult to know when you're doing a good job, because effort and success rarely correlate, right? You might do one thing a little different in marketing and suddenly the floodgates open. Or you might be going down the wrong path, working your butt off, and nothing changes. We learn all sorts of crazy things about our numbers when we start looking at this level of data. So that's all just to say that a part of our culture is measuring and focusing on our measurements to know whether or not we're doing well.
And that's probably no surprise, frankly, to people in this room, because people that are naturally attracted to sales basically say, I don't want anyone to tell me what I'm worth. I will do that myself, thank you. Just give me an opportunity that I believe in, that creates a triple win, and then let me push myself to do more in less time, or be more powerful or more potent in less time. And I personally love hanging out. I probably spend more time in the sales department than almost any other department, because you're my people. I love hanging out with people that want to push themselves and want to grow, and we get to measure it, we get to see it, and it's awesome. And it doesn't mean it's always up. You will have weeks where you work your butt off, and it's not going to reflect that week, it'll reflect a different week, but on average, you look back, and this is a team of people that really want, they don't want to hit a status quo, they want no mediocrity, they want to see things better than they were before. And so that's what I really appreciate from you guys being here.
If you want the result, just do the standards. 100 dials, 3 hours of talk time, 5 sales conversations, 1 sale a day. If you're doing those things, you will be successful. And if you want to be celebrated, do these things. I mean, how many times do we bring Marianne up and we're just like, oh my gosh. By the way, I saw your numbers on Monday. You had, because she was training, she didn't have dials, she didn't have sales conversations, but you did have 1 sale.
I did.
And I was like, huh? So that's what happens when you're really crushing these, and Marianne has been crushing her critical drivers for a long time. And it just builds up to the point where you're at this fever pitch, and failure is not an option, and success just starts to happen. So how many can commit to this standard of measurement? Raise your hand online as well. Yes. Guys, you can do this. It's not hard, and like Kris said, we'll incrementally just keep increasing it and get you where you need to be. Because are we hungry?
Yeah.
Again, Kris asked me to just re-hit the recommended schedule, screenshot that. It's another key way to ensure that you're doing the proper activities. And when it comes to measuring things, there's a few ways to measure things. You can measure the quantity of something, you can measure something on a scale. Anything that you want to improve can be boiled down to a number, and one of those critical numbers is time spent. Right? And that's become the standard for corporate America in determining whether or not someone is doing their job. Is punch in, punch out, time spent. And it does matter, because the more time you put on something, the greater the results you're going to have.
Yeah, I just want to share this. In my own personal journey in life, I always want to hack something, master it, and then figure out how to put in the least effort and get the biggest bang for money. You will never be faulted for doing the exact same thing. When you're new to something, what your success will come through the secret called immersion. What is immersion?
Surround yourself with it.
I've got to learn a language, a foreign language that I don't know. I can either go get Rosetta Stone for speaking French and study that for 90 days, or I can move to France for 90 days. Where will I master the language?
In France.
In France. That's what immersion is. By the way, whenever I put on an event, it's always immersive. It's long days, fully immersed. Your first 90 days here, frankly, is about hacking through time, learning as many things as you can and trying as many things until you find your way to be more effective and more efficient. And the better you get at, Carson's talking about critical drivers, but these are two words you want to be familiar with. Your CDs, your critical drivers, are the numbers that we track, but ultimately they produce a scorecard called your KPI, which stands for Key Performance Indicator. The Key Performance Indicator for us comes down to your weekly volume and what we call your 6-week average. Because your 6-week average is your best indicator of just the trajectory that you're on. It's basically saying, what was my volume 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 1 week ago, what's the average of that number? And then you can know what to beat. If I know that my 6-week average is $6,200, and if I want to grow in my job, then my goal this week should be to do what?
Beat
that.
To beat that. And as long as you're always beating your average, over time you're always making more money and you're doing better. Does that make sense? So if you want to get flexibility, for example, we have a physical office that we're opening January 1st. And that office is a place where people are just going to want to be and want to hang. For those of you that are out of town, you're going to be figuring out how to do this from home. But even that office becomes optional, and it won't be based on your critical drivers. It becomes optional when your KPIs rock. In other words, when you learn how to produce the result your way, that's when you step into maximum flexibility. But on your journey of figuring that out, you're slamming the time and you're trying to race on Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours to master a thing. If you've heard that. To really master anything, it just takes time. You can hack that time by having great mentors. Marianne, there's a reason why she's your trainer. She just she produces amazing results in really crunched periods of time, which is why I also have her on stage and honestly expressing herself in the company in a number of other ways. She's a fantastic person to be learning from. You're going to see I'm going to be dropping in mostly almost on a weekly basis, doing my trainings with you and spending time doing that because I want your 10,000 hours to get shortened so that we can help you actually get to mastery a lot faster. It's also why we hire you with existing, obviously, sales experience. But like I said, our worst case scenario, 6 months from now, we want you tracking for 6 figures. And for some of you, it's got to be more than something basic like that. So.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I second this wholeheartedly. You need to be knowing your numbers so that if and when the corporate team says, hey, look at your numbers, we're looking at your numbers as well, they're not a surprise to you. You need to be doing this on your own and reporting in rather than waiting for us to report out. One of the other things, if I can, is take a look at the schedule, right? Can I give you a hack for this schedule? One of the things I do, and one of the things I started doing about a year and a half ago, is when I got my leads in the morning, I would go through and I would look up by area code starting at 7 a.m. in Mountain Time. Why?
East Coast.
Because East Coast is already 9 o'clock. Their day has already started. So I would often wake up at 6, 7 a.m. and call the people that were already, getting ready for work or whatever it was at 9 a.m. so that I could adjust my time and get the most bang for my buck. One of the things that I want to do, and we will go way more into detail on this as we get further into training, is I want to understand, based on this schedule, when you're most potent. When you are most effective. Are you most effective between 9 o'clock? Are you most effective between 2 and 9 p.m.? Are you talking to people after work? Are you talking to people before work? I want you to stick and adhere to a schedule that we have laid out, and I want to understand when you're most effective, and then we will always be growing, always be hungry, always be progressing from there. But please track what you're doing during those hours and which are most potent for you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. Last thing I wanted to discuss that's a huge part of our culture is
Woohoo!
we like to celebrate! We really, really, really do. I want to show you a number of things that we've done over the years just to have fun. I kind of think of myself as the chief officer of fun.
Good
Trying to keep the
attitude.
place lively, and I love celebrating our sales coaches. You guys do such a phenomenal thing, and I know how hard it is because you're kind of flying by the graces of your own wings, what you're willing to put into it, right? And we've tried to provide as much support as possible, but we've really we tore off the roof of what you can do in terms of how much money you make. But it's also a commission job, which means it's sort of up to you to make it happen. And because of that, I really like to celebrate this team. And what we've developed to do that is we have a rank system for team transformation recognitions. And I won't get into too much of the nitty gritty, but the point is, as you hit certain requirements, you're gonna level up different through ranks of what type of coach you are. So all of you in this moment will be coaches in training, and the first level is become a bronze coach. You do that by getting first blood. Your first sale is your first blood, right? You brought down that animal and slayed it and hauled it back to the camp and said, look what I have done. I brought meat to the family. That's your first blood, right? And you become a bronze coach the moment you hit that. And every rank up you get comes with a reward, and the rewards get better and better and better. The more that you slay animals and bring it back to the tribe. That's an awesome metaphor. I'm gonna continue using
We just
it.
packed our deer in our freezer yesterday.
So silver coach, 5K in a week and 3 sales inside of the same week, and Apple TV or AirPods. You hit gold coach.
Hey, show them the perk. They're gonna want to see that.
Oh yeah, and then we're making LMU available, which is all of our programs that we have that you sell to clients.
Oh, cool.
All the digital programs.
All the digital
Life
programs
Mastery
are made
University.
available to you once you hit silver. Gold, you need to attend one of our major events. You guys are going to check this off this week. If you attend all 3 days of our IFG, you'll have checked that off. 10K in a week, 5 sales inside of 1 week, and a 6-week average of 4K. And you get a HomePod. This might change because Apple just announced their new HomePod. Anyway. But then we're going to start doing breakthrough certification with you. And once you're at gold status, you are eligible to start getting partner leads. We have different lead types that come in. Have we trained on lead types yet?
Not yet.
Not fully.
Okay, we'll train on it, and you'll know partner leads are legit. They're people who have said, I have money and I want to talk to you guys. And it's awesome once you get into that rotation on the leads. Platinum, there's a bunch of requirements that you do. You know, we start tracking your lifetime volume. Marion, what's your current lifetime volume?
Chris, it's
I'll get
Because
it.
you're
It's got zeros.
you're
above 800.
diamond.
No.
No, you're an elite coach, aren't you?
Yeah, it's above 800 at this
It's above 800.
And that was only since we started doing this, because Marianne had over 1 million before that.
Yes,
Yeah,
and we
it's true.
started. But she's not an unfair advantage of having been with us for years and years and years.
I was
And
the
we
first
started
hire
the
for
rank
16.
program, which was this last January, 800,000 in volume. And because of COVID, we haven't done it yet, but we owe you a sporting event or taking you to a concert company paid for. And you can attend, and the name of the program is different, but Kris does exotic retreats with our top clients. And as you rank up through these, you can start to become eligible to
It answers your
attend
question
those.
earlier, Brent.
It's really, really awesome stuff. We love to march out cool gifts and prizes as you guys hit these different ranks and celebrate your success for real. This is going to be a place where we are your biggest cheerleaders, and it's a lot of fun, and there's some really cool stuff. I'm often very jealous of the things that I'm handing to you guys, the Apple Watches,
I got a TV dropped off at my house.
that was the
Great.
coolest. During COVID, 2 of our team members ranked up to Diamond. And so we were all on a Zoom call, but then I had one of our fulfillment guys drive to their house without them knowing, and then on the Zoom call, when I was announcing that they had ranked up, they pounded on the door, opened the door, and we had this big flat panel TV, and we're like, congrats!
Awesome.
We love doing stuff like that. So the ranks are a really awesome way to celebrate you guys. The milestones you really want to focus in on is just get that first sale. There is something about getting that first blood and telling your mind, okay, I got this, I can do this. Then hit 3 sales in a week, then 5K, and then 5K 6-week average. Just hit those as quick as you can, because I want to get you AirPods, I want to get you an Apple Watch, I want to celebrate these things with you guys. And when you get there, you'll know that you deserve these rewards. You look like you were going to say something.
Just waiting for you to get on the stage.
Last thing I want to say is that this idea of celebrating we do as a company, we do awesome stuff all the time. At a big company meeting, I guess it was like 6 months ago, we had a Nerf gun fight.
That was so
You might see it in the opening of our YouTube channel. This was our Christmas party last year, and it was really, really awesome. We had a raffle in which everybody won something really, really big. We went to Costco and just bought tons of stuff. MacBooks, iPads, TVs,
Awesome.
Bluetooth headphones, KitchenAid. and-
Disneyland.
So another thing that we did is we took the whole team to Disneyland. That was like 2 years ago.
yeah, it was March.
And that was such a blast. And going to Disneyland with Kris is the best thing in the whole world. We were there and we'd only been there about an hour, and I was like, hey, I think I want a corn dog. And so I went over to the stand. I was like, oh geez, $8 for a corn dog. And I went back to Kris and I was like, I want to get a corn dog, but they're like $8. And Kris was like, no! Do not even look at the price. He's like, today, don't even worry about it. Get whatever you It was the craziest, awesome experience. at
Churros for
Disneyland.
everybody.
Yeah, we were stopping at every
Every
churros.
hour, there was like 30 churros bought. I'm like, where are you guys putting these things?
Turkey legs, corn. I mean, it was so fun. No kids.
No rides after 3 p.m. Everyone was
No
sick.
worry about prices. I wasn't even that worried about going on rides. I was just like, this is just fun hanging out with the team. And I was like,
Awesome.
a root beer float, a snow cone, an ice cream cone, a churro, a hot dog, a turkey leg, and it was awesome. And that's how Kris rolls. He loves celebrating our success and sharing our success with the entire team. So when we say that we work hard and we play hard, we mean it. And we want you guys to be part of that play. We want you to be part of that, dig in and work hard, but then experience the awesome stuff that we have to give. I can already tell that this is going to be a really special group that is joining the ranks of our sales team. And I'm excited to celebrate you guys and see what you do. And just know that you're stepping into what I think is one of the coolest companies that anybody has ever built. And we're going places. Hop on the train and join us. Join the culture, and seriously, it'll change your life and it'll change your whole trajectory.